Hi, this is Greg. Welcome to the channel. If you're new to the channel, on this channel we talk about business and investment. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about 3 reasons why oil prices are going up in 2021. And then at the end of this video, if you watch it to the end, I'm going to have some recommendations for what you can do with your money to profit from this very important trend. Okay, so that's what I'm going to be talking about, and stay tuned because it's coming your way right now. Hey, what's up? Well, if you've been watching this channel at all, I've been very busy digging into companies like Exxon Mobil and Chevron. We've been following the energy sector very carefully. Way back in October, I recommended Exxon at 33. It's now close to 50, and we've had a nice run. It does have farther to go, so we feel that the trend is our friend at this point, and that's what we're going to be talking about on this video. Okay, so let's get right into it. So, reason number 1 is the devastation in the oil and gas sector in 2020. Okay, now it's no secret that when the pandemic came in the early part of 2020, there was a tremendous drop-off in demand for oil and gas commodities. And this was associated with a very dramatic downturn in the economy as a result of the pandemic. As a result of that enormous downturn in demand and also the commodity price, many companies in the oil and gas sector went out of business and or declared Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Approximately 46 production companies that produced oil and or gas, went bankrupt, and 61 field service companies. In other words, the companies that provided the equipment to explore, extract, and refine petroleum products. This is a tremendous amount of companies, and it marks complete devastation for the industry. But what does that do in terms of those companies that survive, like the big integrated oil companies like Exxon Mobil and Chevron? It gives them an advantage going forward because there's going to be less competition, and as they always say, the rich get richer. The big, well-capitalized integrated oil companies are going to benefit from this unfortunate trend for so many companies. So you can see from this aspect of what's happened, there will be less supply coming out of the US and therefore less supply going onto the world market, which will cause further upward pressure on prices. Okay, now the second factor, the second reason why oil prices, I believe, are going up in 2021 is the political environment. All right? Actually, today, Biden was inaugurated as president, along with Kamala Harris, and he ushered in a new period of time on the political front, which will be very negative toward the oil and gas industry. And you need to look no further than day 1, where through executive action, he basically canceled the Keystone XL pipeline. Okay, now this eliminates thousands and thousands of jobs, and it will inhibit the flow of oil from Canada basically to the Gulf Coast, which would have further facilitated the United States independence in the oil sector. This is, in and of itself, it doesn't have a huge impact, but it's emblematic of what you're going to see coming down the pike over the next 4 years. In addition, you can expect all kinds of woke environmental proposals that will be negative toward oil and gas. And of course, the production of greenhouse gases, which goes along with the Green New Deal and all of this woke nonsense that you hear coming out of Washington. But even though these policies will be put into place, or they'll try to put these policies into place, the demand for oil will continue to rise, but along with that, it's going to make the production of oil, the exploration of oil, and the refining of oil that much more expensive as they introduce more regulation into the system. It's going to do nothing but impede the flow of oil and make it be more expensive, thus favoring the large integrated oil companies. In addition, under this category, I put OPEC's recent decision to cut back production. They're starting to get back in the game again to try to raise oil prices. This is yet another pressure that's going to be put on the market that will ultimately benefit these large oil companies. So my last reason for why oil prices are going up in 2021 relates to the virus combined with the massive stimulus that is planned for the economy vis-a-vis the government. Now, Trump leaving office, he left us with $1 trillion stimulus package, which is being implemented now. Biden is talking about an additional $1.9 trillion. You know, you keep adding trillions and trillions, and eventually you're talking real money. This money going in along with the vaccine potentially being effective at slowing things down relating to the pandemic and getting the economy moving again has the potential and probably the likelihood to really overheat the economy in the second half of 2021. Now, I'm not the only one who's been signaling this. I'll put a link in the description of a video I recently did called "What is the Bond Market Telling Us About the Stock Market?" where I talked about the recent rise in interest rates on the long end of the curve is signaling to us that all this stimulus could have a downside in that it could cause the economy to overheat and therefore inflation to rise. And for those very same reasons, I think these two factors, the vaccine, the effectiveness of the vaccine, and also this massive, unprecedented amount of stimulus, which is just borrowed money and money that's being flushed into the system, this could cause the economy to overheat, therefore increasing all users of oil. Driving goes up, people start flying on planes again, the travel and entertainment industry picks up again, causing more and more activity. The more activity picks up, the more demand that there is going to be, and that combined with the pressure on supply that I just talked about coming out of the political realm could put enormous pressure onto oil supply and therefore drive up the price to probably surprising heights. Okay, so if you buy into these views that I have, these top 3 reasons for why oil prices are going up, what can you do to benefit from them, and what is a smart way to invest your money so that you can take advantage of this trend? Now, as I said, going back to October, I recommended Exxon Mobil, and I was also recommending Chevron. Both companies' stock was much, much lower at that point, and the dividend yields were much higher. When I recommended Exxon and when I bought Exxon, the dividend yield was 10.4%, but that's when it was selling at $33 a share. While it is much higher now, I believe it's got much more to go, and if you want to catch hold of this trend, you can still buy it here. So now I think it would be very interesting for you, just from a timeline standpoint, to take a look at some of these previous videos that I did. I'll put the links in the description, and I'll put the original Exxon Mobil video in the end screen here, so you can check that one out. There was also an update that I did several months after that original one, which you might want to take a look at. And that combined with some of the thoughts on this video, hopefully you got some value out of it. If you got some value, please hit the like button. Helps me a lot. And please subscribe. We'd love you to be on board for future videos, which will be coming your way very soon.